All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to call this law meeting to order. It's 7:10. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Garrett Burkhalter.
Present.
Robert Lawson.
You're on mute, Bobby.
Thank
Present.
you, Mr. Lawson.
Present.
And Miss Rosemary Brown.
Make a motion to excuse Ms. Brown. She let us know that she's not going to be able to attend tonight.
Mr. Lawson, second it.
Second.
All ayes. Aye.
Aye.
So we'll go right into the agenda. Emily, if you want to take over and go through the agenda.
Yeah, I don't have an actual copy of the order that you have everything in. If you just
I
want
can read it.
yeah, that'd be great.
So number one is the ordinance amending the Village of Woodlawn Code of Ordinance to remove chapter 280 Economic Development Committee.
Yeah, so this item, Jerry asked me to prepare this, I think at the end of last week. There is a chapter in the Code of Ordinances that establishes an Economic Development Committee. And it was established back in 1980. As long as I've been in the village, it has not been active and it has not had members. And it's largely been replaced, I think, by both the Economic Development Committee of Council, as well as the Woodlawn CIC and the assistance we get from HCDC. So Jerry had proposed that we remove that section from the Code of Ordinances, and that's what this ordinance does.
Are there any concerns for this to move to full council?
I have a question, but Kiana had her hand up too. Go ahead.
Ms. Sugar.
Thank you. Can you explain a little further? So we're saying that we don't want to have Economic Development Committee any longer?
I think what it was explained to me is that this is redundant of other committees that we already have in the village.
Okay.
And it has never been utilized. So if we're not going to use it, we should take it off the books.
And so when we say it's not being utilized, I guess the confusion for me is that we do have an Economic Development Committee currently that meets.
So we have one.
Different?
This is different.
Okay.
So the committee that currently meets is a council committee that does economic development. This is separate from that and would be made up of a combination of council members and business people in the community and residents. And like I said, as long as I've been representing the village, I don't believe this has ever been utilized or filled.
Okay. Thank you.
So good.
So is that what we have now in the Economic Development Committee? Those
No,
three
it's
things,
different.
council?
Totally
Because I
different.
mean, you had two residents that were on the line this past meeting.
That's the committee.
That's the committee. It's different.
Yes. That
Okay.
doesn't go away, team.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't affect that, Pam. It only affects, when Emily said, the other one that we never met or implemented before.
Correct.
So
Okay.
as of today, Kiana is the chair of economic development. She would still continue to chair that meeting. It would still go on as
The committee. Correct.
Yes, that committee is established under the rules of council and that's not affected.
right.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So Mayor, are you saying just for the zoning, not for the zoning, but for the Code of Ordinances, because that would be changing the Code of Ordinances? So is it taking the whole thing out or is it just kind of changing it to where it does the same thing, I guess?
So
Or is it?
the rules of council are in the Code of Ordinances, and they establish an economic development committee that is made up of 3 council members. There is a separate chapter that is a separate economic development committee made up of a variety of people, including some members of council, some member from the business community. And this would remove, it's chapter 280. It has maybe 5 or 6 provisions in it total, and it would remove that whole chapter.
So the 2 resident members of the Economic Development Committee then wouldn't no longer be a part of that, since the the rules of council that established that economic development was 3 council members. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's right.
Okay, so we would need to tell those 2 that they are no longer a part of the committee.
So I'm kind of confused on what that committee is that you're referring to, Kiana.
So we
Maybe
were
because I've
looking-
never attended the Council Economic Development Committee meeting.
So we were looking at the code of ordinances that establish the membership for Economic Development Committee.
Okay, so chapter 280.
Correct. That's what we
Okay.
were looking at to build our Economic Development Committee. So in addition to the 3 council members, we had 2 resident members, and we're actively looking to add the others as it was outlined in chapter
Okay.
280. But it sounds like now we're moving away from that. So that would mean,
Well, this is completely a council decision. And it sounds to me like perhaps we're merging the council committee of economic development with what's in the code of ordinances. Unfortunately, they both have the same name, so it makes it kind of confusing. So if you want to keep the economic development committee as it's written in the code of ordinances, you can do that if you're going to utilize it, but we probably then want to eliminate the council. You don't want 2 committees, and right now we have 2. So
This is in the code of ordinance as it would have been that total of like 9, I believe, with
yeah.
all the business residents and 2 council members. Has that been utilized like that up until this past year? So, and then with the catalyst thing, after you all got done, I thought he said that may be changing, Mayor, where
Possibly.
it would be the Economic Advisory Council.
Yeah,
I see you,
instead of, Brother
Mayor,
Chair,
Mayor, I see you. And I'm saying what you're saying, Monica, and I see you, Mayor. My point as the chair, I don't see a point of 2 different meetings. If we can consolidate the meetings and then have 1 meeting. have one-
correct.
So Mayor, go ahead what you were saying.
I think the roles are very intertwined there. What I'm going to suggest, Brother Chair, is we can table this. Let me have a discussion and do a follow-up through some email. If I could do that, I want everybody to have a better understanding. It's an intertwine, but Kiana I understand her concern is the 2 residents that are on there. So currently, how the makeup has been working with Sean is that there's business, there's residential, council makeup. And so it's an intertwine. So I just want to have a better understanding of that. I understand where that was going, but I just want to have a better understanding.
So let's table this so the mayor can do the research and come back to us. Is that fine with the committee, Mr. Lawson? And fine
Yeah,
with
that's fine.
the council members? I know it's not the council member's decision being the council, but a unanimous decision to table this.
yeah, I would just say, Mayor, if we can have a conversation too, just as chair, I would like to have understanding of what
Sure.
direction we're moving into.
Absolutely. I'll make sure you're included in that. So I'll get a good time. We can possibly do a conference
Okay.
call.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so moving on, and number 2 is a resolution that the Village of Woodlawn will pick up the statutorily required contribution to Ohio Public Employees Retirement System for the employees of the Village of Woodlawn pursuant to Interest Revenue Code Section 414H2.
Yeah. So there's actually 2 resolutions on this. I think that these were reviewed by Tim at the Finance Committee meeting. So as you recall, last month, we passed legislation that eliminated the pickup that the village was doing for all the employees. And what OPERS has said is they want 2 very specific pieces of legislation that basically accomplish the same thing that we did last month, but they want it written in a certain way in order to meet IRS standards. I will tell you that one of these is almost word for word verbatim what we passed last month, but they want it passed again using their form. So that's what these 2 documents do. One eliminates the pickup for employees. The other one excludes members, elected officials that took office before February 25th of 2019.
Okay, so it's nothing different than.
No, it's just the way OPERS wants it done. That's all.
Okay.
So do we have any questions or concerns about this resolution? Mr. Lawson, directly to you, because you and I are the ones that would stop it here or move it to full council. Have any questions? or concerns?
No, not offhand. I don't have any questions.
Okay, so it moves to full council for vote. Number 3 is a resolution that the Village of Woodlawn will pick up the statutory required contribution to the high employees retirement system for the employees. The name of the employee.
I'll put that in. This is the same as the other one we just discussed.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
Any questions or concerns? Should be none. None, Mr. Lawson.
None.
Number 4, a resolution ratifying the purchase of a Procare Life Pack for the Woodlawn Fire Division.
Yes, this is the fire department has identified another item that they want to use CARES Act money for. Based on the timing of when funds need to be encumbered in order to utilize the CARES Act money, it has to be encumbered by November 20th, which is before our council meeting. So this would approve that purchase.
So I have a question, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
I understand we got to spend money before a certain time. So if we don't spend this money, we lose it.
We have to give it back.
Okay. And when did we get this money?
I believe we've received, it depends on where it's coming from. So there's a number of different pots of COVID-19 CARES Act money coming. A couple big pots of it were already deposited with the village. They've already received the funds. Some are through a reimbursable grant with Hamilton County. And a third, I think, came through FEMA. And I'm not sure if that was reimbursable or if that was provided in cash up front.
Okay. Any other questions in regards to this resolution, Mr. Lawson? Or
No question.
anybody in attendance? Okay, number 5 is a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to execute a second amendment to an agreement with the Greater Cincinnati Water Works for the provision of retail water service.
So the village has had a contract with the city of Cincinnati. I think the current contract was from like 1987. And it expired in 2017. And this is how we provide water to our residents, retail water. It expired in 2017. It was a 30-year contract. We did an extension of that to get us through to the end of this year. The city of Cincinnati has requested another 1-year extension so that we can negotiate a new contract by the end of 2021. So there's no changes currently. It's just going to extend our existing contract.
Any questions or concerns about this existing contract? Mr. Lawson?
No questions or concerns.
All right, moves to full council. Number 6, a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into a contract with Halthoff Plumbing Company for the installation of touchless plumbing fixtures on various village properties.
So this is again another CARES Act expenditure to install touchless bathroom fixtures throughout the village.
Now, even though we got this CARES Act money, is this a reoccurring bill that we will?
No.
Okay, we can pay for it now with the CARES Act, but is this a reoccurring bill that we have to?
No, it's replacing sinks and faucets and things like that. It's not reoccurring.
Okay. Any questions or concerns about this resolution?
No questions, no concerns.
So it moves to full council. Number 7, a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into a real estate purchase contract to acquire certain property located in the village of Woodlawn.
This would authorize a purchase contract to purchase the property at 10150 Springfield Pike, which is the barbecue place. The manager indicated that the village has applied for grant money to fund this acquisition. The purchase contract has the purchase contingent upon the village receiving that money. We've negotiated a purchase price with the seller at $226,000 to acquire the property.
So I have a question, Emily.
Mhm.
When we're acquiring property like this as a village, why would we make it public that we're first interested in the property? Second, put out an amount that we're willing to purchase the property for to the public?
Well, I don't think we did that. We negotiated this first.
I mean, we're doing that now. I mean,
Well, that's because we've already agreed that in theory, we've already agreed on the price. This is the price that the seller will sell it for.
How much was that price again?
$226,000.
Okay.
I'm just not understanding why we would put out any moves that we would do real estate wise to purchase property and tell a competitor what we're willing to pay for it. If I was a personal real estate investor and it said, okay, the village is willing to pay $226,000 for it.
That's not how we did it, though. We actually went in at a lower price that was rejected, and then another lower price that was rejected. It wasn't until we reached a purchase price that the parties agreed on that this was presented to council.
And I guess I'm asking, why wouldn't this be talked about in an executive session? Why does this have to be public to everyone?
Well, my understanding is that this was already discussed in the committee of the whole meeting, and that there was consensus about this item.
Well, it was discussed as about purchasing property on Springfield Pike, not about specific things or prices or whatever.
Okay.
So I guess my concern is, and I'm looking at it, I'm a real estate investor. If you're telling me, okay, you're going after this property and you're telling me exactly what you're offering, I'm just saying, why wouldn't we be discussing this in a?
Well, I mean, like I said, that's not how it was approached. It was approached the way a normal buyer would negotiate a purchase contract and a sale price. And we can't move forward past that point unless council approves it. So if council doesn't approve it, then we won't enter into the purchase agreement. But we certainly didn't approach this person and say, here's the money we have to spend on this.
Right.
The village negotiated it.
So would you agree future, any property that we're looking at the village, that it should be discussed in executive session to not let a competitor or whoever know what the village is thinking to purchase? Or if I know the village is trying to purchase my property, if I got 3 people trying to purchase my property, and then I know the village of Woodlawn is interested, I'm not even going to worry about the 3 people. I'm going to wait for the village of Woodlawn's offer. Okay. So is this something that next time we need to discuss in an executive session?
Okay, well, I was just under the impression that those conversations had already occurred, and this was just putting the final step in place.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else coming before this meeting? Go ahead, Ms. Boyd.
So what was the decision on the property? Is it moving forward?
Well, what happens in law, if there's no dispute or anybody that says nay, the vote of voted against going to full council, everything moves to full council for vote.
Okay.
So
So
now
this one
it's
does.
full council for your vote, everybody else's vote.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So this, is it moving, is this
It's
moving
to
forward?
full council for
Okay.
full.
Okay, thank you.
So I just want to be clear, are we saying that 3 people can hold up legislation to go to full council?
Yes.
But it used to be the other way around, that 2 members of law committee could prevent something from going to council.
It was 2 members that could send it to full
Oh,
council.
that's right.
They could send it to full council.
Right.
So now, if 2 members vote against it, it doesn't go to full council. Previously, if 2 members voted against it, it didn't go to full council. So automatically right now, if 2 members are against it, it doesn't go to full council. Any questions in regards to that? Is there anything else that become before a law committee?
I got a quick question. So is there, I don't even know if I can ask this, but is there any concerns or issues with that property that we don't want to go forward with?
So we will do a phase 1 environmental and a title search before we close on the property.
Right, because I'm just a little confused. I thought, you know, our vision is to try to move forward. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing correctly. It sounds like there's some question.
Pam, we are going to move forward. I don't think that's the chair's concern. I think it's more of a discussion about property before into the public eye. I think that's just more of a concern.
Yes.
It's not that we're not going to move forward. We are going to move forward.
You're
That's
showing your hand to everybody. Why would we show our hand to everybody?
okay.
Like playing poker.
I mean, from my perspective, we're past that point of showing our hands, and we are at the point where we are approving the legislation, which is something that needs to be done in the open because the terms have already been negotiated and agreed to between the parties.
Okay.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else, I have one thing. Like I say, annually, the fellas in conjunction with the Woodlawn Recreation Department do a Thanksgiving dinner. Being that we have COVID, we're not doing a Thanksgiving dinner in-house that you could come get a meal. This Saturday, I believe, from 12 to 4. And you can call 771-7713, the Recreation Department, and speak with our intern director, John Fuller, and get more information. But I believe this Saturday will be baskets passed out to first come, first serve families that need a Thanksgiving basket with turkeys and various things in that basket. Previously, the fellows would cook turkeys and cook the meals the Wednesday beforehand and serve them at our recreation center. But due to COVID and the spike of everything, we're going to give out baskets this Saturday, I believe, from 12 to 4. I believe that's the time. But if you call 771-7713, you'll get the exact time. But I know it is this Saturday that we're going to be giving out baskets of food to families that are in need. First serve, first come, first serve basis. Go ahead, Pam.
Just what other means of communications are you getting this information out? Because if residents aren't looking at this meeting, and if they don't get it from us, I'm sure there's people out there that may be in need. So do you guys have any other communication routes that you plan on taking just to get the information out to our residents?
We put it on our individual pages. What we could do is put it on. Being that it's not a Village of Woodlawn sponsored event, it has never been put on the Woodlawn media page. This is a thing that myself and a group of guys got together years ago to do. And then we came in later. We did it for the first 3 or 4 years by ourselves. And we came in later and partnered with the Recreation Center. So we could put it on the website so that people could call to see if we have, available baskets or whatever. And we're still accepting donations. All donations go towards the baskets that we provide for families. We fed 2020 Hillcrest. I don't know what it's called now, but Hillcrest every year have brought their youth down to our community center and got fed on Thanksgiving Day. And we've opened it up to whoever wanted to come down. You come down and just get a plate to go. So this year with COVID, we're not able to use the recreation center, but we're still providing baskets and turkeys and different things to families.
Right. I just wanted to know, there's always somebody that's in need. So just wanted to understand the communications. Of course, I will try to get the word out too, but just because, we're in a pandemic, I just was interested in knowing how you were.
So I think that's a Mary.
For people who aren't online.
I think that's a Mary Emily question, being that it's a nonprofit organization. Can we post that on Village website?
So if you do that, you then have to accommodate other nonprofits that want to post events on your Village website. So without really taking into account the content of what that item is, because that would be a content-based speech restriction if we open up our website as basically a forum for that type of information.
Right. So I could send the information to, I see you, Ms. Boyd. I could send the information to each council member to post it or let people know and not go through the Village website. And however we put it out there to generate the biggest response and let people know that we're doing this. We've been doing it now for the last, I think this might be the 5th or 6th year that we've been doing it. So go ahead, Ms. Boyd.
Okay, so it's not, I understand it's the group that you have, but it's still, Woodlawn has nothing to do with this, is what you're saying?
In previous years, Woodlawn had nothing to do with it.
Right. So you all rented out the rec center and so then it was your own private thing?
The rec center was donated to us on Thanksgiving Day to set up and have families come eat at the rec center or grab a meal to go. So it was donated. So
we can't use robocall because it's not Woodlawn recreation event?
That is correct.
Okay. About how many baskets about how many baskets or food boxes of food do you anticipate?
And it's done different this year, Ms. Boyd. Last year we fed about, the previous years we fed anywhere from 80 to 120 people to families.
But right now with the resources that you've gotten in and you foresee getting, are you thinking that you might be feeding, like, you have the capability of feeding, like, I don't know, 50 to 100 or giving out 50 to 100 or something?
Let me, because our chairperson on that is Dwight Farley. And our contributions are steadily rising. So that number might be steadily rising. So I don't want to give you a number and that number is less or more than what it is.
Okay.
So I can have a number for you, Ms. Boyd, so you can let people know. I can easily have a number when you buy. Let's say by Monday.
Yeah. Just wanted to put it out there, or I don't want it to be that we only have, say, 30 and then people are coming. So,
If a family is in need and we only have 30, we give out 30, we'll find a way to accommodate the other family.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are there any other questions or concerns, law, that come before law tonight? All right. Mr. Lawson, is there a motion for adjournment?
Yes, there is. I'd like to make a motion for adjournment tonight.
I second. All ayes.
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys. Thank you.